we are with another episode of Team Ottawa podcast. And of course, Mayor Mark Sutcliffe is joining us today. Mayor, you've had some important meetings recently with some important outcomes. Talk to me a little bit about having the big city mayors here in the city of Ottawa.
It was a busy week. We had a gathering of all the mayors of the largest cities in Canada here in Ottawa. That's something we do on a regular basis. We welcome them to Ottawa, and there's meetings that happen in other cities as well. And it's great to compare notes on all the big things that are happening in the country and the similar challenges that we're all tackling. And, I'll tell you, it's reassuring to me sometimes to take note of the fact that every city in Canada is struggling with many of the same challenges, things like housing and homelessness, supporting the most vulnerable, better transportation, better public transit. So to have a chance to connect with other mayors, I had a good chat with the mayor of Quebec City, Bruno Marchand, who was asking us a lot of questions about Ottawa community housing and the great work that Ottawa community housing is doing in our city. And then also last week, a number of provincial ministers were in Ottawa. So I met with Finance Minister Peter Bethlen-Falvey and Andrea Kanjan, who's the Minister of Red Tape Reduction. I also had a great discussion with Prabmeet Sarkaria, who's the Provincial Transportation Minister. We talked about the continued work that's being done by the provincial government and our city administration on uploading Highway 174 in the east end of our city and on uploading our light rail system. This is a very, very significant move for the city that's going to save local taxpayers billions of dollars in the years ahead. And it also will mean that there will be greater expertise devoted to solving some of the challenges we've had with light rail. So this will be a big win for the city when it happens. There's still a lot of work to do on it, but we're making progress on those discussions. So it's been very productive, all of these meetings and discussions that we've had in the last little while.
Has it surprised you, Mayor, how important it is that you have these relationships with other levels of government and your counterparts in other cities to really tackle some of these big issues that you spoke about?
Yeah, it's a big part of the job. And that's one of the things that I learned when I became mayor is just how much the job requires you to build a strong working relationship with the provincial government at Queen's Park and a strong working relationship with the federal government on Parliament Hill. And that's something that I've been able to manage, I think in part because I wasn't a member of any political party at any other time in my life before I got into politics, and I'm an independent at the, there's no parties at the municipal system. So I'm able to have a good working relationship with Premier Doug Ford and his cabinet, a progressive conservative government at Queen's Park, and with Prime Minister Carney and his cabinet and the Liberal government here in Ottawa. And really it's all about, it's not about partisan politics. It's just about getting results for the people of Ottawa.
Mm-hmm. And there was some history made last week at Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee. I understand you were the first mayor
apparently
to attend. Talk to me about that important meeting.
So we've done a lot of work this term for our rural communities. It had been more than 15 years since we'd had a rural summit in Ottawa. So about 18 months ago, we held a rural summit and brought together people from all the rural communities throughout our very large city. The rural community makes up about 80% of our geographic land mass in the city, so they're a hugely important part of our community. And we heard their ideas and feedback on what we could do to improve life for rural residents. And what rural residents don't want is to have urban solutions imposed on rural communities. We want rural solutions for our rural residents. We heard that loud and clear. We came out of the Rural Summit with 10 specific actions that we're following up on now and making happen, including making sure that there's more of a rural focus within every department at the city, making sure that committee, the Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee, has more of a mandate, a stronger mandate going forward. So we've done a lot of work, and I spoke to the committee, and apparently, I didn't know this, but it was the first time a mayor had attended and spoken at the committee since amalgamation when the committee was created. So I was very proud to do that, and I continue to spend a lot of time in our rural communities. I joined Councillor Kitts on a tour of some of the farms in her ward just last weekend, and it was a great tour. We met lots of wonderful, wonderful people who are doing very exciting things with their farms, using technology and innovation and bringing more jobs to Ottawa in the agricultural industry. So some very exciting things going on. I love spending time in our rural communities, and I'll be doing more of that in the weeks ahead.
Yeah, for sure. It's wonderful to see you out in the community for sure. So we know, Mayor Sutcliffe, that you have a priority, and that is housing in this community and in this city. A visit to Algonquin College where you got to meet students and understand what was happening there in terms of the programs that they offer. What's the connection to actually having housing built in the city?
Yeah, as you say, Sam, this is a big priority for this term of council. We want to build more homes. We want to build them faster. We want to make it easier to build homes. We want to say yes to housing. We have a housing action plan that we're implementing with 53 different measures that are going to make it easier to build homes and build them faster. One of the areas that we need to focus on is the skilled trades and attracting more young people to work in areas like carpentry and being electricians and sheet metal workers and all of those different professions, all those skilled trades. We're working with our union partners. We're working with Algonquin College. We need to have more highly skilled workers trained and available to the workforce because we're going to be building a lot more homes in the years ahead. So it was great to see what's going on at Algonquin College. I also had the chance to connect with the wonderful people at Habitat for Humanity who are doing great things in our community. They have some exciting projects coming up where they will be building homes together with their partners and giving some families in Ottawa their very first home on some really preferential terms. So that's really exciting as well. There's so many different people in the community who are each working on this. It's not going to be one solution that fixes housing for the next generation. It's going to be a multitude of different things. So I'm grateful that organizations like Habitat for Humanity are doing such great work.
For sure. And they say it takes a village. And
Yes.
And that village, of course, this beautiful city of Ottawa is connected by many roads. And
A lot of roads.
I'm sure you hear from residents about roads in our city, but you have a plan.
Yeah, we're doing a lot to improve how people get around in the city. I've heard from residents about congestion and about road safety. And a great example of that, in the last election campaign, I was in Half Moon Bay in Barrhaven, and I heard over and over again from people about how unsafe that area is when you see, and if you go there, you see it in action. There's, as you go south on Greenbank, you get to this point where you go over a bridge, you turn right, you go over a bridge, and you go further south on Greenbank, and it's a bit of a hairpin turn, and then you're coming into a neighborhood where people are trying to move around. There's no crosswalks there. It's unsafe, and people travel at very high speeds through that area. So at the time in 2022, the Greenbank realignment, which is a project that's been talked about for years, was not forecast to begin anytime in the next 10 years. It was kind of like, the earliest this will be is 2030, 2031, 2032. So working with Councillor David Hill, we have prioritized that project. We've moved it up in terms of the timetable. We found funding for it. And the Greenbank realignment now, the first phase of that is going to get underway with work this year. So it's happening in 2026 instead of 2032 or later. I also went to Stittsville and met with Councillor Glenn Gower, and we looked at some of the major roads in his area. Carp Road is one example, and there are other roads in his area that need to be expanded and need to handle more capacity. Same thing in Orleans, in South Orleans. There are areas all over the city where we need to expand the capacity of our roads to make sure people can get around more effectively. And by the way, it's not just all about cars. There's also going to be room on Greenbank for dedicated public transit lanes in the long run, bike lanes, so people have a choice of how they travel. But we need to increase capacity. Our city's growing rapidly. People need to get around the city, and they don't want to have to deal with congestion.
This is very good news. As a former resident of Barrhaven, I know the people of Barrhaven are smiling right now, and of course in Stittsville as well. One of the areas that we've really seen a focus as well, with D&D being such an important employer here in the city of Ottawa, the focus on a defense hub in the city. You've got some big news, some exciting news this week about that.
Yeah, as you know, Sam, there's going to be an increase in defense spending by the federal government, a significant increase. It's one of the areas where they're growing, even as there is the potential for federal government job reductions. So we have to, in these uncertain times, pay very close attention to the local economy. And we've struck a partnership with the city of Gatineau because this is, it's two cities, it's two provinces, but it's one economic region. So we've struck a strategic partnership with the city of Gatineau. The mayor of Gatineau, Maud Marquis-Bissonnette, is a terrific leader and great partner for our city. And we're working on strengthening and diversifying our local economy and establishing Ottawa-Gatineau as the defense innovation hub for Canada. And we got some great news this week. There's a wonderful cybersecurity event called In Cyber. The fifth year of that event is coming up. The previous 4 years, they held it in Montreal, but they're moving the event to Ottawa this December because they see Ottawa as the place to be for cybersecurity, for defense technology, for defense innovation. So Ottawa-Gatineau will be hosting this event. And it underscores once again our strength in this area. We have more than 300 companies in the defense technology space and cybersecurity space in our city. So this is a huge opportunity for our city to welcome people from all over Canada and around the world to this conference. 4,000 people are expected to attend, and they'll be making connections with local companies that will help them grow their business, grow the industry, create more jobs in Ottawa.
And of course, the economic impact of having a conference, especially in December,
yes,
in our city is big for sure. We've talked about a lot of serious issues, and Mayor, at the beginning of this year, you and your family welcomed a new family member. And I have to ask you, because we haven't chatted about Bruce in a while, how is Bruce the cat?
Bruce is great. Yes. I never expected to get so much feedback about this. We adopted Bruce, who is an 8-year-old, we think, cat who had, lived a rough life up until he was a stray for a big part of his life. And we adopted him through an organization called Furry Tales. And this came after we had lost our previous cat. So we had Scout the entire time Ginny and I were married. It was my birthday present to Ginny about 6 months before we got married was this cat, Scout. She was with us for 18 years, beautiful cat that the kids adored. They'd known her their whole lives, of course. So that was a little bit of a tragedy in the fall. And then we went and adopted Bruce. And it's just funny because I get so much feedback when I'm in the community. People ask me how he's doing.
Right.
And I never expected that. But we have a new member of the family, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, maybe Bruce needs his own podcast, right? This has been wonderful. Thank you so much, Mayor Sutcliffe, for joining us today on Team Ottawa.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.